This year's inductee into the Photoshop Hall of Fame is Adobe Worldwide Evangelist for Design and Photography, Terry White. Terry got his start in the creative field back in 1986 after becoming an expert at the popular page layout application Aldus PageMaker. And this soon led to him opening his own desktop publishing firm in the Metro Detroit area. This was an era of explosive growth for the desktop publishing industry and Terry's firm as well. But by 1990, Terry began to see more and more of his clients starting to set up their own in-house desktop publishing departments, and he could clearly see where the industry was moving. This was the perfect opportunity to step away from doing the layout work himself, and instead, he and a partner formed Mac Training and Design to teach companies how to equip and run their own desktop publishing studios. It was in this new role that Terry was first introduced to Adobe Photoshop, and he immediately fell in love with his groundbreaking new tool. He embraced Photoshop with the same all-in approach that he had when he first learned PageMaker years before. At this time, Photoshop was still in its infancy at just version 2.0, but Terry's clients were already wanting to unlock Photoshop's power. And it wasn't long before Terry's largest client, a regional photo lab, had hired his firm to start teaching Photoshop to the photographers using that lab, and shortly thereafter, Terry was teaching Photoshop 2.0 classes twice a week. In 1994, Adobe acquired Aldus, and now his local Aldus rep, who had been working closely with Terry's firm for years, was now with Adobe Systems. As luck would have it, one day when Terry was meeting with his Adobe rep, giving her a laundry list of suggestions for features he'd like to see added to the next version of PageMaker, his rep stopped him and said, "Hey, you know what? We've got a new job opening that you might be perfect for. You should apply." Terry took her advice, applied for the job, and in 1996, Terry was hired by Adobe as a market specialist for the Midwest region. Terry grew in his new role, going on to become a technical resource manager for Adobe and then a director of sales engineering, and finally on to become one of Adobe's direct links to their customers as a worldwide evangelist for design and photography. To this day, Terry travels the globe training Adobe customers on Photoshop and the Creative Cloud products, and he's a fixture at conferences and events each year where he shares his Photoshop knowledge as well as entertaining and inspiring Adobe customers everywhere. In fact, Terry was the keynote presenter at the very first Photoshop World Conference back in 1999 in Orlando, Florida, where he wowed the crowd showing the newly released Extract masking feature in Photoshop, as well as showing the new Save for Web feature at the height of the web design boom. Although Terry is now celebrating 20 years at Adobe, when it comes to creativity, he doesn't just talk the talk. His design, editing, and Photoshop skills have brought him much acclaim over the years. Terry is quite an accomplished photographer whose work has been featured in magazines, print ads, catalogs, and on the web, along with being a published author, often quoted tech industry guru, and award-winning podcaster, not to mention his incredibly popular YouTube channels, which includes Photoshop videos that have gone viral, garnering literally millions of views on the latest features, techniques, and tips. But it's his role as Adobe evangelist that brings him the most joy as he travels the world informing, engaging, and educating Photoshop users and helping them to unlock the power of Creative Cloud and all the amazing tools Adobe creates that touch our lives each and every day. When asked about his goals, Terry once said, "My goal is that everyone I talk to, or that sees me in a video, or I touch in some way, understands and knows what's possible with these creative tools from Adobe." It is for his work as Photoshop educator, author, trainer, advisor, consumer advocate, and digital imaging industry pioneer that we honor him today with induction into the Photoshop Hall of Fame.